Hello everyone and welcome. We're happy to have you with us today. My name is Carrie Ferg and I'm your host for Manta's Small Business Expert Series about mobile marketing. Manta wants to thank mobile marketing expert Brett Relander for generously donating his time and expertise. We hope you'll tweet about today's event using hashtag MantaExperts. We'll begin today's presentation with a welcome from Manta's CEO, John Swansinger. Here's John.
Mobile marketing can no longer be ignored. 80% of the U.S. population owns smartphones. Now more than ever, consumers expect websites to be mobile friendly. In fact, 76% of consumers will abandon a website that is not optimized for mobile. Google has even followed suit by rewarding mobile-friendly sites with better search rankings. Remember Mobilegeddon? The term mobile marketing can seem overwhelming, but in our webinar today, social media power influencer and mobile marketing expert Brett Relander will break down the fundamentals of mobile marketing into actionable and practical steps. The 60-minute session will cover whether a mobile text message or push notification program are right for your business. Relander also will discuss how to optimize your website and email for mobile devices. Finally, he will explain how mobile business owners can capitalize on mobile moments. Thanks for attending today's webinar. I hope you will find it helpful. Now back to Carrie.
Thanks, John. In case you missed it earlier, I'm Carrie Ferg, editor at Manta, and your host for today's webinar. I want to take a few minutes to cover some important housekeeping items about the event. Let's first talk about your screen. During the webinar, you should see a slide area which you can resize and make bigger. Left of that is the media player, and under it is a box called the resource list, and some widgets. All of the widgets open and close, and I encourage you to check them out. I want to point out three widgets in particular: the resource list, the help widget, and the Q&A widget. The resource list is open under the media player. I'll be referring to the resource list often during our event today because you'll find links and documents there that you can open and explore while we're talking. If you're having technical difficulties, please click on the help widget, the one with the question mark icon. My colleague Mel is answering your technical questions, so just send her a note. Now I'd like to introduce Graham, our community manager, who will be fielding your questions.
Hello everyone, my name is Graham Klein and I'm the community manager here at Manta. I'll be helping with questions today. I know you'll have a lot of questions about our content once we get going, so ask them anytime. Just click on the Q&A widget, type in your answer, and I'll push your questions along to Carrie and our expert Brett. They will be answering questions during the last 15 minutes of the webinar, but please ask them as soon as you think of them. Just a quick shameless plug, come on over to the community after the webinar. It's a great resource to ask questions and get answers from your peers who may have already tackled the same problem.
Okay, let's get down to business. I'd like to start today's webinar with a story about why we're here. U.S. smartphone owners spend an average of 4.7 hours on their phones every day. That's 32.9 hours a week, or nearly the equivalent of a full-time job. Consumers expect sites to be mobile-friendly now more than ever. So why should you care? Mobile is where your customers are. The wide adoption of mobile has unleashed an incredible market opportunity that small businesses can't afford to ignore. Here's what we have planned. We'll talk basics about mobile marketing, starting with mobile site optimization, and then moving on to SMS and push, mobile-friendly emails, and capturing mobile moments when your customers are ready to take action. We'll do a couple of polls because we want your opinions, and we'll take your questions the last 15 minutes or so. Ask your questions using the Q&A widget anytime during the webinar. So let's meet our guest expert today, Brett Relander. Brett is a top 100 social media power influencer and founder of Tribe Media and Launch and Hustle. As a growth hacker, consultant, and speaker with specialties in social media, mobile and digital marketing, he works with businesses to identify opportunities and implement impactful solutions. His first book, Imperative, was published in 2014. Click on the speaker widget in your console to learn more about Brett. Now I'm going to pull up a quick poll to get things started. Do you want to use mobile marketing to grow your business? I'll leave this up for about 10 seconds, and then I'll pull up the results. It looks like about 50% of you would like to use mobile marketing to grow your business. Everyone recognizes that it's essential, and the other half of you would like to use mobile marketing to grow your business but need guidance. So let's get started. Brett, if a business owner is choosing between an app or mobile website, which is the top priority and why?
Great question, and hello everybody. It's good to be here. Thanks for taking the time today to be on the webinar with me and Manta, and hope you guys find it valuable, and don't hesitate to ask questions along the way. So as far as the websites and mobile apps are concerned, without a doubt, a mobile website is the top priority. It is essential and really a requirement today in the marketplace. It's something that you simply can't ignore. You're probably getting about 40% of your traffic, if not more, from mobile devices today out of your total traffic. If you look at your Google Analytics or whatever analytics platform you use, you'll find that probably at least 40% is coming from mobile devices, and so that tells you that it simply can't be ignored. The people that show up to a non-mobile friendly site, the kind where you've got to pinch and pull and all that stuff, they're simply not going to stick around. They're going to go find somebody else. Because the user experience is poor, and they don't want to put up with it, and really they don't have to today. They want to be able to find what they're looking for quickly and easily. So those websites are certainly a foundation to where you need to be, and you can easily get those sort of things, those sort of resources through WordPress as a platform that we like as far as a content management system. WordPress is very simple and easy to use. Anybody can do it. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to understand really any of those things, and you can still easily use it. And you can update your content yourself on a regular basis. You can add new blog posts to your website on a regular basis. And with WordPress, you can have a what's called a responsive theme. So we see this slide says responsive example. The one on the left is your desktop version, so what you'd see on your laptop or your desktop computer. The one on your right is what you would see on your phone or on your tablet, whatever mobile device you may have. And what you'll notice about these is that they're consistent, right? They have the same branding, they have the same look and feel. People will know if they've been to your desktop site before, when they land on your mobile site, they're going to know that they're in the right place, and that's important. The photos are still there, the branding is still there, the content is arranged a little differently, the menu is arranged a little differently, but ultimately everything's easy access. Even on the right-hand side on the mobile version, you can see there's a click-to-call option, so if somebody had clicked that on their tablet or mobile device, and you can see you've got the option, it brings it up, it asks you, do you want to actually call that or do you want to cancel? If you push call, you're making a phone call right there on the spot. So easy to do from the phone, and something you've really just got to have today. So here's one more responsive example. This one's a little bit different approach. Still the same scenario. So, and let me back up 1 second too, and kind of tell you the difference between a responsive website and just a mobile site. So sometimes you'll see websites that have like a different, like an m.yourwebsite.com. Or anything in front of it instead of a www is a subdomain. A subdomain is, in the eyes of Google, is a separate website. A separate website is not what Google prefers. They prefer a responsive website so that it's the same URL, so it's the same web address, regardless of whether someone is on a phone, tablet, or computer. It's responsive, meaning it responds to the size of the screen that your guest is using automatically. So that's the beauty of responsive designs. You can get responsive themes today for your websites very simply and very inexpensively. I use sites like Theme Forest to find different themes. You can do searches on there. You can filter those searches based on the type of business you have. et cetera, and really get a lot of options that are typically $50 or less to buy the theme. You can install it on WordPress very simply again, and then start to customize it. So it's really something that these days anybody can do. On this current example, you can see again, very, very consistent. They've got their menu on the mobile side, so it's very action-oriented. What you'll also find with mobile devices is that people that do searches on mobile devices and go to websites on mobile devices, they're not really browsing in most cases. They're not really just kind of searching for something from a browsing perspective. They're more action-oriented. So they want to go and they're looking for a phone number, they're looking for your address, they're looking for directions, those sort of things. They're looking to potentially find your menu if you're a restaurant. They want to find your contact information if you're a bank. All these different things that are very, very action-based. So you want to make sure that those things are high up on the page and very easily accessible when people get to your mobile site immediately, so that they've got the access to what they're looking for. They don't have to search around. They don't have to click multiple times to get there. They've got what they're looking for right there on that page, and it makes it quick, easy, and convenient for your customers. And this example has done a good job of that.
I would just like to give a quick thank you to Matt O'Brien for providing this example. Matt is a Manta community member, and he owns 5150 Design. Next, we're going to address starting at the basics of mobile marketing, Brett. How should a small business owner decide if a text program or push notification program is right for them? What are the pros and cons of each?
There's a lot of factors to take into consideration. First and foremost, push notifications require you to have your own mobile application. The good news of that, if you want a mobile app or if you have a mobile app, they're very easily accessible today. They're much more affordable today than they used to be. This does not have to be the $100,000, $1 million mobile app experience. There's plenty of resources out there where you can actually go and get a mobile app designed for, in some cases, less than $1,000, using some systems that are in place, and it's still going to be branded, still going to look great. And it's only going to cost you, typically, like I said, less than $1,000 to design, and usually $100 or less per month to have that maintained and that includes your hosting and everything associated with it. The beauty part of some of those platforms is that they're very user-friendly as well. So kind of like what I was talking about WordPress before, you've got the ability to really go in and update content if you want to, and make some changes. You easily use a system where you can send out those push notifications to people's devices. But again, you do have to have a mobile app, and that's something that's a decision you need to make based on really the kind of business that you're in my eyes. So mobile apps are best used when your customer base is going to be needing to engage with you more frequently. So it could be a restaurant, it could be retail, it could be banking, it could be those sort of things where you have more regular contact with your customers. It's in most cases less necessary for kind of service-based businesses where you're only touching your customers, once a year, once every 2 or 3 years in some cases. You're not going to get the same effect with that, and it's not necessarily you're not going to get the same return on investment, certainly. So you have to take those things into consideration. With text messaging, it's much more simple to enter. You could go do it today. There's services out there like Trumpia. There's services out there like Textmarks and many others that you could use to create your own text messaging campaigns now. And get those set up in a very short amount of time and ready to implement with your customers. So the thing you really need to be able to do when considering that is what's the value. So I'm glad we switched slides. Good work, Carrie. This is an SMS example, and the key here is really there has to be a kind of a hook for the customer, right? There's got to be a reason for them to want to opt in to your text messaging campaign, because text messaging campaigns are very much like email campaigns, that they are regulated, and you have to give people the ability to opt out. If they've opted in, you've got to get them to confirm the opt-in. There's similar to the spam laws with email. It's the same thing with text messaging. So it's very user-centric, very user opt-in based, and they have to have the ability to opt out at any time. So can we go back to the last one real quick?
Oh, sure.
Sorry. And I guess I could have clicked that myself. I keep forgetting I can actually do that. So the thing here is really to have value and convenience to your consumers' lives, right? So that's back to that hook of saying, if you're a restaurant, maybe you're gonna send out your text message once a week about a dinner special or about a lunch special or a happy hour special. It could be anything like that, but it's got to be controlled, right? So people don't want to get these messages, twice a day. They don't want to get them even once a day in most cases. So you've got to be very selective on how you message that and make sure that there's value associated with it. I'd also stress that it's important to consider when you are sending them. So if you're talking about a lunch special at a restaurant, you probably want to be sending those out at 11 o'clock a.m. because you want to hit people when they're starting to think about lunch or starting to get hungry. And what you really did is you helped them make a decision quickly and easily by providing them a solution that they wanted. So whatever that lunch special is, something that would whet their appetite, means they don't have to try to figure out where they want to go to lunch. You just made it an easy decision for them, and that's helpful to your consumers. So it adds value, and it's something that they appreciate. So another example of ways that you can use SMS is appointment reminders. You can do that through systems like Trumpia has that. Traffic updates on the days of appointments. Those are, again, it kind of goes back to the convenience of it all and just providing some assistance to them that they would have to go search for otherwise. Providing a service in many cases to your customers. It doesn't always have to be a deal. It could be entertainment-based. It can be kind of assistance-based and support-based, like something like this. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it comes back to the value associated to the customer that you're trying to serve.
All right, moving on. We touched on push notifications a bit. Are there any more details you'd like to add here, Brett?
Yeah, so push notifications are also opt-in. I'm sure all of you know, and all of you have smartphones, and you've downloaded apps before, and when you open it the first time, it asks you if you want to allow push notifications. So this comes down to how, again, you're going to message this when you're asking people to opt in. So typically, when you're doing some sort of marketing campaigns, you have signage around your location or your restaurant or your bank or your retail location or wherever, or you could put it in, really you can put it in postcards, you can put it in any type of marketing that you're already doing and make it a way for you to capture those customers so that you can communicate to them and with push notifications ultimately for free. Most apps you can send free and unlimited push notifications. So you've got the ability to use that, but people have to opt in. And you want to give them an incentive to allow push notifications from your app. So again, that could be deals, that could be whatever the convenience is of the value add that you're doing. You have to make sure that you let them know that when they're being asked to download the app, so that to make sure that you remind them to accept push notifications, because that's how that's how they're going to receive your lunch specials, your deals, your traffic updates, your whatever the value is that you're providing. So you got to make sure you're asking for that so that they're aware, because depending on the experience they've had with other apps, they may tend to click not allow. And you want to make sure that you have access to as many people as possible, and you do that through your messaging. Let's see, it's connected to a larger app experience. Certainly the app should be, again, similar to a mobile website. It should be the same brand experience. So it should be very consistent in the brand message that you're sending. It should be really tailored very much around your website. The other cool aspect of the mobile app is that it sits on your people's phones. So I like to look at it like, in many cases, the page one of your mobile device is very much like page one of a search results on Google. This is what people are staring at, like Carrie said early on, about 33 hours a week. So imagine the brand impressions that you get by having your brand sitting on someone's device that they're looking at, 33 hours per week. They're going to see your brand often. That means that they're going to remember your brand more often when they're needing something that you provide. So there's certainly a benefit to having that brand sitting right there on someone's mobile device.
Now that we've discussed SMS and push, I'd like to take this opportunity to bring up another poll question. The question is, which of the following mobile marketing tactics have you used? I'll wait about 10 seconds and then I'll pull up the results. All right, let's take a look at the results. Wow, so nobody's used mobile ads or SMS marketing. We've got 7% who have their own app, or another 7% that have done all of the above. But most of you today haven't really delved into the world of mobile marketing yet. Next up, we're going to discuss mobile optimized email. Brett, I've noticed many companies, small companies and large companies, haven't gotten around to optimizing email for mobile yet. Why do you think that is, and should they?
Yeah, absolutely, they should. Why they haven't gotten around to it, I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of, we're still pretty much, in the infancy of what's happening with mobile and mobile marketing and just mobile in general, specifically in the small business market. But I mean, in reality, I've worked with businesses from, the HPs of the world to the startups of the world, right? And you see very similar challenges in some cases across the board. Or at least the main challenge is the same. How they are having to go about solving it is a little different, but ultimately it's a change in how they're doing business. It's a recognition of how the consumer is changing, and then their challenge is really determining how best to approach that, the tools that they have available to do it, the resources that in some cases that they have available to put towards it, and the best way to go. When it comes to mobile email, it's key again to really be more short and to the point. I don't like to read long emails, or really in general, but specifically on a smaller screen, you've got to make sure that you're using templates within your email marketing platform. So I don't know what you guys are all using, of course, but if you're using the MailChimps or the iContacts or the Awebers and all those others of the world, or if you're using a more established solution, a more robust solution, you have to make sure that you're using newsletter templates that are responsive and that are going to go and make sure that those are going to be responsive for when people read them. So again, there's no scrolling left and right, there's no squeezing and pinching and all that stuff. You want to make it very fluid so it fits on the screen. They can scroll through it easily. I'm a big proponent of kind of the bullet point method, so I don't want to see 10 different things in a newsletter and a bunch of text around each one. I would rather see a headline in essence for each one, and then I can decide if I want to click through and read more about that. So I can really skim an email much more quickly, determine what's important to me and what's not, and take the action that I want to take quickly and easily. What this also does is it also drives more traffic to your website. So less to read on an email, more to do, more traffic to the website to get additional information on that, and potentially to be exposed to other things that you guys are involved in, and other promotions you're having or other services you offer, et cetera. Text only is certainly an option. For certain emails, I definitely recommend that. It makes it quick and easy for people to access. It seems, in many cases, especially if they're personalized, it seems less commercial-based, or less promotion-based, and more personal. So there's certainly a benefit in that. I always recommend making sure you personalize each email, so using a first name tag at the beginning to make sure that everybody in your list is being addressed by hi, Bill, or hi, Kathy, whatever the names are. They're being addressed that way, so it's not kind of it just seems, again, more personal to people, so that it appeals to them much more. There's some more examples on the screen. This one's pretty good. As you can see, it fits the screen, right? There's still images, there's still branding. It fits the screen. It's not overly long. It's got social media icons at the bottom. It's got a button that you can click for the call to action, and it's pretty, right? It's pretty. It's simple. It's easy. and it's not overly long. It's great. So that's a good user experience for people when they show up. So Vision did a great job with that one.
Another aspect I liked about this one, Brett, is it includes the personal greeting like you were mentioning earlier at the beginning. I'd like to thank Manta community member Karen Cummings. She's the co-owner of Vision Marketing and Consulting for providing this example today. She also has a fantastic article called 3 Tips for Creating a Beautiful Mobile Experience. The article is included in our resource list today, along with a few others on how exactly you can execute great mobile emails. Moving on from email, let's discuss how small business owners develop mobile experiences when the customer is ready to make that call to book an appointment. How do small business owners capitalize on those mobile moments, Brett?
I mean, this is a really important one. People are, they're looking for that convenience, right? And it's again, we've kind of got that on the bottom right there on the screen. You can see the ability for kind of the touch to call. So they touch a phone number. In some cases, it's just the phone number that they touch. Other cases, if they click the call button of some kind and they click it, this pops up on the screen, and they've got the ability to push call or cancel and make the call quickly and easily from there. With scheduling, what you'll find is that, there's a couple options here. One, there's that call option. What you have to realize is that the call option is really only available during business hours in most cases. So if somebody's looking at your website and wanting to schedule an appointment, it could be for a haircut. And now I can't really do it in the evening. It's after dinner. I remember at 9 o'clock at night that I need a haircut, and I want to go schedule one. I'm either going to have to remember to call tomorrow, or if they've done the website correctly, I've really got the ability to go on and potentially schedule right from their website today, right now, regardless of what time it is. So it could be in the middle of the night. I could be overseas on vacation and want to make an appointment when I get back. The timing's not going to matter. It's extremely convenient for me. I can see what times are available. I can schedule the appointment right then and there and lock that in when it was right for me. Many of those appointment scheduling systems are responsive, so you could put them into an app. You could embed them into an app. You could put them on your mobile website, and it makes it extremely convenient for your customers. So my hairdresser actually uses that, so I've used it many times. Typically, it's not during business hours when I think of things like that, and I'm able to go in and schedule the appointment. They actually receive my request for that appointment, and they still get the option to accept it or deny it, depending on if other appointments have come in at the same time. And then I get a confirmation via email that says, hey, it's been accepted and you're locked in. So that's one of those things that it becomes just back to the convenience of today and kind of the requirements that people expect from just being able to do what they want when they want to do it. And that's how I've used it in the past.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more, Brett. I'm a millennial and I'm a mom. I'm working. I'm super busy, and I absolutely expect convenience in just about everything that I do. And I had that experience recently where I booked a photographer based upon how convenient their site was to book an appointment. And when something came up, I was able to go on the website on my mobile device, change the appointment quickly and easily, and make it suit the needs of our busy life. And so the first criteria in selecting that photographer was not how talented are they, it was how easy is it to make an appointment.
Yeah, it's just the ability to do it and have it kind of off your list is an important thing, right? I mean, we've all kind of got our long to-do list these days, and it's when you can kind of quickly and easily knock stuff off the list. I know that it makes me happy. With a wife and 3 kids, it's there's lots of things on that list. So the more things we can knock off quickly and easily is fantastic.
Absolutely. So next up, we actually have a special offer today from our expert, Brett Relander.
Hey, I'm going to make this quick. This is a coaching program that I've never actually offered before. So it's group coaching. Typically for one-on-one coaching that I do with other businesses, it's a $3,000 a month commitment today for Manta and all you out there that are looking for some assistance with mobile marketing, with social media marketing, with digital strategy, et cetera. I'm offering it at only $297 a month. It's going to really give us the ability to get together. It's much like a mastermind, so it's a way to not only just get access to me, to be able to ask the questions that you need when you need them, and get the solutions and truly try to save a lot of time and money that, that I've ultimately spent over the last decade learning much of this stuff. You guys get to kind of skip ahead and save that time, save that extra expense that it takes in trying a bunch of tools that aren't necessarily the ones you should have, and become part of this our Empire coaching group. We do 2 group meetings we're going to do 2 group meetings per month. I'm going to send out a signed copy of my book to everybody who's a member, and there's going to be a private Facebook group as well for everybody to network and answer questions, ask questions, and just really get to know other people in the community. You guys will find that there's a big benefit in that if you're not doing that kind of networking already. Again, it's very convenient too, so you can do it anytime, and it's a way to get in touch with everybody. I've also got 8 bonuses, and actually I actually added another one this morning, so there's 9 in there. On the URL that you'll see at the bottom at brettrelander.com/empire-coaching. There's all 9 other bonuses associated with the offer that you guys will all get as being members. And, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee on it. So if you're not happy with it, anytime within the first 30 days, just let me know, and you will get a full refund. So it's only available today only. We're actually closing it down today. And then it's only available to the first 27 people because I want to make sure everybody gets the attention that they deserve. So if you guys are interested in that, jump on it. I hope to see you there. And otherwise, I'm ready to take questions from everybody.
All right. If you haven't submitted questions, definitely now is your opportunity to do so. I have one more item to mention before we get to questions. In the coming weeks, we'd like to hear from you if you try anything you learned today and have success with it. Please contact me at cferg@manta.com, the email that you see on the slide, and tell me what happened. We will consider you for a follow-up profile and success story featuring your small business on Manta.com's resource site. So I look forward to hearing from you on what you tried today and what worked. And now to the Q&A portion of the event. Looks like we have a lot of questions to sort through. One question, Brett, was, do you have any insights or data on how many mobile users actually purchase product on their mobile devices? 77% of my website visitors are mobile users, but I don't see those converting to purchase.
I think there's a lot of factors that can go into that. I do know. I mean, one of the things that really jumped out to me from a kind of a mobile marketing and mobile sales perspective was with mobile coupons. So coupons that are delivered via mobile device, that could be via text or push notification, et cetera, those are redeemed at about a 10 times higher level than traditional marketing. So 10 times higher than, say, email or a mail piece that goes out. I mean, I know that we all get plenty of postcards and things like that, and those actually can be beneficial for certain business types. But like you said, 70% are on mobile devices. I think it's going to come down to the call to action and what you're actually offering to them. I don't know if this question has to do more with that they are just they're just buying on a mobile device, and there was not like a promotion to drive them there. They just are kind of visiting and browsing. Or if you're finding that you're doing promotions and those people aren't converting, I would look at your sales funnel, and I would look at kind of seeing where people are dropping off and determine and potentially do some A/B testing in that area where you're finding that you're losing people to see if you can kind of solve that problem and see what it really is that's going to drive the action by measuring different changes within that sales funnel that you have in place.
And I would just add to that quickly that, a lot of time consumers are using their mobile devices to research products. So it may be the start of the sales funnel, but it can be just as valuable in that process of converting them to an actual customer. So another question for you.
Hold on. Let me just add one more thing to that. So you could actually, if they're going to your mobile website, you could actually have some cookies or tags in place to be able to, especially if you're capturing them as an asset of any kind. So if you're getting an email address, if you're doing any sort of remarketing or anything like that, you can tag those people. Then you'll be able to see the path, right? So you'll be able to determine the path that they went, and you'll be able to determine if that's really the case. What Carrie's suggesting is actually happening. So you can kind of see the path to the purchase. And you may find that exactly like Carrie's saying, that people are using their phones just to kind of, when they're, they could be on the elevator and they're looking at your products and they're interested in that, and that's spurring a later action that they may take on their desktop.
That's a good point, Brett. The next question we have is, I'm used to proper grammar and spacing with emails. Should that be ditched?
No, I don't think it should be. I mean, there's some research out there that suggests that kind of messing up a word here and there makes it seem more real and more authentic. I personally, I don't know if it's because I'm anal or what, but I personally like it to be correct because I find that to be more professional. I think I don't necessarily say that you can go wrong either way. It's really more about listening to the consumer, because they're going to tell you really what's right for them and what's right for your audience, because what's right for each audience can be different. And it kind of goes back to the testing of things. And you could test some emails where maybe you have I wouldn't obviously make it extremely off grammar-wise, but you can try some different strategies and see if people respond to them. That's the best way to do it, is really make your decisions based on your consumer behavior, but you have to be very purposeful in what you're doing from measuring that behavior. And if you go in with your eyes wide open and really with a purpose in mind, and you're in your position to measure it, then you can truly manage it and make intelligent decisions based on what your consumers are telling you.
And I have another great question here, Brett, and I think a lot of people are probably asking this. Do you have to have a website prior to having a mobile application?
You don't. You don't have to. I'd be interested to hear what the use case is for a regular business. If you're a mobile app company, so if you are a game, if you are someone who is really just in the business of having an app, and that's kind of what you're promoting, it can certainly be that way. Most apps today at least have a landing page, at the very least, on as a regular website that will direct people to their mobile applications. So it could be just a one-page site that has some branding, a quick tagline that's kind of the call to action to why people should download the app, and probably a button to the App Store and to the Google Play Store to go and download those. But it's not necessarily required, no.
Okay, thanks, Brett. And another one here. Regarding texting my customers, is there a specific program or company out there to help with that?
For texting customers, yeah. So I've used Textmarks before. Let me make sure I've got this correct on the URL. It's textmarks.com. So textmarks.com is a website that I've used before. That's kind of a shared system. So it's inexpensive, it's very affordable, and anybody can use it, and you can really get it up and going in no time. Another one that's out there that's more robust as far as the types of things you can do is Trumpia. Let me see if that's Trumpia.com. Yeah, Trumpia.com. And they've got very robust solutions within what they offer. And you can do a lot of the other things that we've talked about today, kind of like the scheduling and different things like that you could offer through their system. More complex, so be prepared for that, just because there's so many options. But both those are good ones to choose from, and there are others out there as well. You can probably do a search on Google and find a number of them to look at.
And here's another related question to that, Brett. Somebody's asking, is there a platform that you recommend for building a business app?
There's a bunch of those out there too. Business Apps is one, BIZNESSAPPS.com. I'm going to come back to this. There's another one I want to mention, but I'm failing to remember the name. But Business Apps is one, and let me kind of search around as we're talking here, and as soon as I find this other one, I'll mention it, so everybody can take a look at it. But Business Apps is definitely one that's out there.
Okay. Another question we have, did you say texting is potential clients is more personal than push notifications?
Yeah, I would say it's slightly more personal. I think they're very similar in nature, so they come across in a similar way. I think, text messaging, because we tend to do it a lot with friends and family, they can seem more personal, kind of on the edge of it. But I think that's more important is really how you are messaging, not necessarily which one of those you're going through. It comes to how you're addressing people and the messaging that you're sending and what you're using. Things that are very cold, even on text messaging, are not going to feel personal. So, look at ways to message, regardless of the channel that you're using, so that it seems more conversational and less commercial. So that it just feels more natural to other people, and it doesn't feel like an ad. It feels like somebody's letting me know something that I was interested in. That's kind of how I look at it. So it's very much like this webinar has been to a certain degree. It's we're more conversational in nature, and we want it to be real, because people. If you look at the stats around advertising, specifically like ads on Google, I don't even pay attention to the ads at the top or on the right at all. I don't even notice them. And that's really where the trend is. People are just kind of ignoring and have kind of learned to ignore ads over time. So the ads platforms are changing. They're trying to find new ways to get in front of people, different types of ads, because that sort of thing, people will just become numb to it. So really find ways to communicate in a way that's probably less corporate, more personal, in ways that are fun. People really they're really attracted to things that are kind of entertainment based with a side of your brand. It's a way to really do some fun stuff, some entertaining stuff, and make people laugh and want to do business with you because you made them smile. It can really go a long way.
And Brett, I have a question here that I think is a good opportunity to kind of clarify to our audience today, how push notifications are a function or a feature that are integrated with an app. The question is, what type of push notification app would you suggest or are out there?
What sort of push notification apps are there? You meaning their own app? Typically, if you have your own app, you'll have the ability to send push notifications. So that's kind of built in to the app. I've never used I don't know if they even exist, to be honest, like a general app where anybody can send push notifications through it. I can't imagine that that's something that most people would want on their phone, just because they'd be getting hit with things constantly. So, I would just look at it from your own app perspective. You'll have the ability. I know through business apps, theirs is very simple, so you can go through. It's kind of like a kind of a wizard or a step-by-step approach when you're setting up push notifications in their apps. And you pretty much go in. You identify. You can identify the target audience kind of by proximity to a certain location, type of device, so Android or iOS. You can schedule stuff. You can actually have media associated with it, so you can have an image associated, links in them, etc., and set it up. Literally, it would take you like 10 minutes. to do it. It's extremely simple within their platform, and I'm sure it's the same for some of the others out there.
And so going on to another question, Brett, one of our audience listeners today is asking, the majority of percentages given are analysis of people checking CPG sites, shopping, maps, restaurant, or product information. So mostly things B2B firms need to be aware of. What percentage of mobile users use mobile device for B2B interests and needs? So
what percentage? I don't know.
In a nutshell, I think they're asking, are mobile websites, mobile apps relevant for B2B?
Mobile websites, absolutely. Mobile apps, less so. That's kind of what I touched on at the very beginning, I think, a little bit with the mobile apps. It's really about your connection to your audience and how often they're going to connect with you. So businesses, some of the B2B companies, they may have their own internal apps, right? So private app deployments that they use for their workflow within their organization. But when we're talking kind of about small business apps and some of the platforms that we've talked about today for companies that have their own app, those are not that, right? These are very more consumer centric. B2B, definitely. I mean, everybody. I don't care what business you're in. I don't care. It doesn't matter. If you are in business of any kind, you should have a mobile-friendly website. If you have a website, it should be mobile-friendly. I don't even care if it's for business. If you want people to go to your site, then it needs to be responsive. It's simply a requirement because most people are going to be accessing your site through a mobile device, and those numbers are only going up from here. So definitely the mobile website.
So this next question is interesting. Brett, I am a GM at an all-in-one mobile development company, and we have a lot to offer. My sales teams keep getting hit with objections from clients who are not aware this is happening, and presumably that means mobile marketing. How or what would you do if you were me to get more interest?
So he's saying that the people he's trying to get as clients are not aware of the value of a mobile app. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I'm thinking mobile marketing as a whole even.
Mobile marketing as a whole. Okay. I mean, I would show statistics. I mean, I would ask them to go look at their own analytics and or go into their analytics and say, listen, let's go look and see how many people are accessing your website from a mobile device. That's first and foremost, because that tells you that's where your audience is. I mean, there's a reason why billboards were extremely powerful, 10, 20 years ago. It's because everybody was driving by them. It's the eyeballs, right? Now, that billboard is sitting in the palm of everyone's hand. And they've got the ability to potentially have their brand sitting on it if they have a mobile app. But either way, a mobile website, SMS marketing, email, all channels of marketing are now mobile because that's where people are. The best way to prove that to them is probably to show them their own analytics because chances are they're going to have at least 40% of their traffic showing up via a mobile device. If that's not, and that doesn't mean that it's only important for their website. It means what it's telling them is that all of their customers are on their mobile devices and they're looking for them. So why not communicate with them there? If everybody's always on desktop looking at their email, then that's why email got so big. Now they're on their phones doing the same thing, And you've got different channels through a mobile device to reach them other than just email. You've got the push, you've got the apps, and still got email on top of that. So, I mean, the statistics that are out there are staggering with where things are going, and it's only going to continue to move up from here. I mean, really, it's mobile first today. People who are designing, like I work with companies that design apps in some cases. So the business, the app, everything is mobile first today. Any business that we talk to, when you're designing a website, you should be designing for mobile first today, and taking that into account from step one, because that's where people are and that's where the market is. It's that simple. That's where the consumers are.
Thanks, Brett. Another question for you. Personally, I'm not keen on receiving marketing text messages. Do you have a sense of how effective text marketing really is?
Depends on the market. It depends on the message. It's just like every other marketing channel. It's gonna depend upon how much value you're really providing. I mean, we're probably opted into a text messaging system or into somebody's text messaging program, and it stunk, right? I mean, it was just like the information wasn't relevant, or they were hitting you with text messages too often, or whatever. That's a bad experience. So when we talk about user experience, it's not just for within a piece of software or on an app or on a website. It's really with everything that you're doing. So I would suggest that if you recognize that your customers are on mobile and that you're on mobile, and then you really think about what would be helpful to me, what would I really want to receive. It doesn't really matter what the business wants to push out. It does not matter. Nobody cares what you want to push out. It really only matters what the consumers want to receive, and that's what's important. So once you find kind of that balance of understanding really what the consumer wants from you, then you can deliver it to them. It kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier with really understanding consumer behavior and knowing your customer inside and out, so that you're able to serve them to the best of your ability. And that's really only going to happen if you truly understand them and their needs, and you listen first. If you listen to them, they'll tell you what they want. You can deliver with them what they want, and they're going to love you for it. So I don't have a stat handy like sitting on me right now that would say what that is. But my feeling is really just it's all about how you're interacting and the value that you're providing. And if you're not providing any value and you're just pushing out garbage, then that's kind of what you're going to get in return. So really understand your customers, and it'll work for you. If you treat your customers well, you understand them, you know them, and you deliver them what they want, how could they be unhappy?
Absolutely. We have another question that kind of touches on a topic that you touched on briefly answering one of your questions, and it's about analytics. So please suggest analytics to be used for website and mobile devices. Is there any platform that you are familiar with you could recommend?
Yeah, so obviously Google Analytics is always good. Google, we've all anointed Google to become the search engine gods, so it's always good to be tied in with anything that Google's doing for the most part. There are typically benefits associated with that. So Google Analytics kind of at a base stage. Another one that's a good one is Kiss Metrics. So Kiss as in like you're giving someone a kiss, metrics. They're a good one that you can use as well that I recommend. I would look at one of those two for starters.
Perfect. Well, I think we are getting to the end of our time today for questions, Brett. Thank you for answering all of those. While we didn't get to all of the questions today, we are going to do our best to follow up on the community afterward. There's actually a link in our resource list to get right to the community thread. So our team here at Manta will work on answering any outstanding questions there, and it's a good area where you can connect with other listeners here today as well. So I would just like to close out the day by thanking you for attending our event today and reminding you our next topic that we will be covering on September 10th is called EMB 20 Days and Counting. We're just going to take 10 minutes of your time to update you on the essential details of the computer chip-based credit card, which becomes mandatory on October 1st. On that day, the liability of credit card fraud shifts to small business owners if they are not prepared